Alright, what's going on, guys? Try back again, here to bring you another video. This one's going to be doing another viewer requested topic discussion video. This one is going to be comparing two of the greatest creators in the zombie apocalypse genre, probably the two greatest, and that is of the creator of The Walking Dead, Robert Kirkman, and the creator of the Dead movies, so Night of the Living Dead, Day of the Dead, Dawn of the Dead, Land of the Dead, Survival of the Dead, George A. Romero, who is the king, the undisputed king of zombies. Alright, good stuff. So if you guys missed my review of Night of the Living Dead, I suggest you check it out. Of course, if you guys aren't familiar with George A. Romero, I know you're all familiar with Robert Kirkman. You damn well should be at this point. But I want to basically talk about in this video. Now, this was a viewer requested idea, so I didn't come up with the idea. But what I want to talk about in this video is basically at this point right now. So right now, after The Walking Dead's popularity, after it's become basically the biggest drama series on television, and sort of giving new life to the zombie apocalypse genre that has kind of been dead for a while. Pun totally not intended. Who is more responsible for the overall popularity of zombies, and who really has contributed to this little genre that we consider as part of like horror, for example? Who is more responsible for the success of the genre? Who has contributed more? And is that person Robert Kirkman, or is that person George A. Romero? What do we think? Okay, so of course, I think right off the bat, we'll start from the beginning. You have to go with George A. Romero as being the initial creator of the zombie apocalypse movie, of course, which he was, right? Yes, there had been zombie movies before, but the whole zombie apocalypse concept was really brought into movies, or brought into pop culture, I want to say, with George A. Romero's Night of the Living Dead. Then, of course, we had Dawn of the Dead, which was like a way bigger scale of the same type of scenario in that same kind of, I guess, George A. Romero's Dead world with the mall and everything we saw in that, which was really cool. Day of the Dead, and then just on from there. Land of the Dead, and then Survival of the Dead. And I mean, he's done a lot of other movies as well too, but when we think of like the Dead movies, those are the ones we're referring to. So he sort of jump-started the whole genre. He's responsible for basically pioneering or coming up with the idea of doing zombie movies. Since then, there's been remakes of, I think, pretty much all of them. I know for a fact Night of the Living Dead had a pretty good remake. Dawn of the Dead had a great remake. And then, of course, I think Day of the Dead 2 had a remake, but I think it's more like a B movie. I don't know how good it was. But basically what I'm saying is that he was like the first person to really create this whole idea of a zombie apocalypse movie or show or video, this type of thing. And they were all fantastic for their time. You know, Night of the Living Dead was incredible. Dawn of the Dead, a lot of people's favorite, and rightfully so. It's incredible as well. Day of the Dead, probably my favorite. And then, of course, the others afterwards weren't as successful. Land of the Dead was okay. You know, the others he's done have been okay, I want to say. But the initial three definitely are looked at as like the zombie trilogy. You know, if you're talking about just a zombie trilogy, yes, there's Return of the Living Dead. There's all that other stuff out there from the 80s and that. But, or Army of Darkness and everything, yeah. But when you talk about like kind of, I want to say like a serious zombie apocalypse type movie, George A. Romero was the guy who did it first. So that's always going to kind of be a feather in his cap for everything that came afterwards. You know, Robert Kirkman's The Walking Dead is what it is because of Romero. If Romero never made those movies, I almost want to say that Kirkman would have never created The Walking Dead. Probably not, I would have to say, because he's created a lot of other things too. Like, the thing about it is a lot of people don't know that he's created a lot of different comic book series. The Walking Dead is just one of them, but he's got all these others too, like Invincible, and there's so many. There's so many. He's got Thief of Thieves, and I think Guardians of the Globe. He was right. There's all kinds of stuff he's worked on over the years. The Walking Dead is his most successful out of all of them, but it's not the only one. So I think I would have to conclude that without Romero, Kirkman wouldn't have been able to do what he did. He wouldn't have come up with those ideas that he did. Because even when you watch interviews with him, he basically talks about The Walking Dead, and he essentially says that The Walking Dead is like a zombie movie, like a a great zombie movie. When he says that, it's like he's talking about Romero's movies, really, because there aren't many other good zombie movies. To be honest with you, there really aren't many that aren't either remakes of his or were his, right? And he says that basically it's a zombie movie that doesn't end. And that's essentially what the comic book series is and was when he first started it. The TV series is just an adaptation of that to show in live action how fantastic that type of idea can be. And it's really a shame that Romero never came up with a concept before then, never decided, hey, what about if I do like a zombie ongoing series or something, or television series over time? The concept just works so well. It's so perfect because as exciting as the first little while is in a zombie apocalypse, like let's say in a movie, a Romero movie, you'll get Night of the Living Dead, which is one night, or Dawn of the Dead, which is like, I want to say like a, maybe, what is it, a couple of days? Yeah, it's a couple of days type thing. Day of the Dead also, it shows a little bit more time because they've been in a bunker, they've been surviving for a while after the zombie apocalypse has totally wiped out everything. But we don't get to see characters evolve over time like we do in The Walking Dead. Yes, there's some character evolution during the zombie movies, of course, but it isn't really concentrated on the characters that much. It's more concentrated on the zombies themselves, whereas The Walking Dead is more concentrated on the characters in that world and how they change. And I think that's kind of what made The Walking Dead so successful and so interesting, is that it took that standpoint and really looked at it from a realistic perspective and made it work. And that's why it's so amazing. So even though you need both to kind of create what the zombie genre is now, I kind of, because Kirkman's work on The Walking Dead is my favorite comic book series ever and television series ever, as much as I love the Romero movies, I think I'm going to have to give this one to Kirkman. It's kind of like evolution. You start from the beginning, you have a person that comes out with an idea, boom, they get the ball rolling, and then later on, someone artistically can take the same kind of concept and take it to the next level. And I think that's what he did. And you need both, to have created this zombie apocalypse genre that exists now in pop culture. But in order to get to the point where The Walking Dead is, you did need Romero to jumpstart it, and then you needed Kirkman to take what was there and, or somebody else, whoever came up with the idea first, and it was Kirkman who made it happen, right? And kind of give it that evolution to the next step and let it go from there. And that's basically what it did. So they're both responsible for the success of the genre nowadays. But I would have to say that I think if I had to choose between them, Kirkman is responsible for creating the greatest zombie story. Like, I would say that The Walking Dead is the best zombie apocalypse story there is, whereas Romero's is, all the different ones he had were good, but it was always kind of like horror, short term, based around the zombies, characters just surviving. And then at the end of, for example, Night of the Living Dead, you guys know what happens if you've seen it. You just don't get to see that kind of character growth over time in a zombie apocalypse, which is so fascinating in The Walking Dead and what makes it, I think, the biggest drama series on television right now. One of the best-selling comic book series, even though it's not a part of Marvel or DC, which is strange to see an outside comic doing that well, which it is. So good stuff. So for me, even though you do need both, if I have to give the crown or title to one person, I think I'd have to give it to Kirkman. He just took what was out there. He took the genre that Romero created, and he made it even better. He took it to the next level, and that's you do need both, but that is what I would have to say. You would have to crown Kirkman as the zombie apocalypse king at this point. So I hope that makes sense. Let me know what you guys think about it, about the whole genre of zombie apocalypses, the movies, even video games are huge now. TV shows, comic books. It's pretty crazy. I bet you when Romero created the first Night of the Living Dead originally, he never imagined it would become something like this, all these years later. So let me know what you guys think about the topic. Heavily interesting topic. For me, the title of Zombie King has to go to Kirkman. Anyway, I'll call it here. That's it for this video, guys. I'll see you for the next one. This is Trev. As always, saying peace.